First up, we've got Cal State Long Beach, which is the first of its project submissions, the Colorado Lagoon. Using augmented reality, the project seeks to raise awareness to protect and preserve one of Long Beach's most significant natural wonders. And Professor Heather Barker is the team lead. So Heather, welcome, and we're going to pass it over to you for your presentation. Can't wait to hear more.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cal State Long Beach has been very much committed to engaging in our local habitat and our environment, which as the largest urban ocean city in the region, has a significant impacts from natural sciences, expertise, community engagement, and we're really thrilled to be part of this ongoing impact that Pando is making. As you mentioned, we have two teams today. I will hand it over to our student team to make their presentation. Lily.
Hi. Can you guys see my story map page?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so we worked on the Colorado Lagoon and we created an augmented reality art walk at the lagoon. My name is Lily Rodriguez. I have a background in design and computer science. My other teammates are Mark and Eva. Mark has a background in political science and educational technology, and then Eva has a background in applied mathematics. So I'll go over a quick overview of the lagoon and kind of like its current state. So the lagoon is part of the Greater Los Cerritos wetlands historically. And then just to kind of show you an image of what it used to look like. So here in this map, you'll see the light blue overlay. That's the 24 acres of the Los Cerritos Wetlands Complex that used to exist. And then now with the darker blue overlay, that's what remains. And then within that red circle, that's the Colorado Lagoon. So the Colorado Lagoon consists today of 13 acres. So it is very small, you know, going from 2,400 total to just 13 acres of the lagoon. And then this is what the lagoon looks like today. So we really focus on the lagoon because it was interesting to us that one, it's a historical site. It's a sacred Native American land. And two, you know, it's an urban landscape really. So there's like a playground site. A lot of people, families go there. But, you know, the water quality has always been, you know, in recent years has been, you know, less than ideal. So the restoration efforts really, the current ones is they will be opening a channel to help improve the water quality of the lagoon. This is what the restoration plans look like for the future. And yeah, we focus on this because we really think wetlands are an important ecosystem. Not only are they habitat to wildlife, but because the lagoon is so unique in its makeup, you know, I mentioned it's an urban landscape. It is also, you know, a great habitat for, you know, us people. And then going over to research and development, I'll hand it over to Mark.
Hi, so yeah, we thought about this project in terms of like can we improve awareness of wetlands for the local community and also honor the sacred land of Pavuna, so which is partly on the campus of Cal State Long Beach. So we did a brainstorming and we looked at all of the community assets and thought about like there's other wetlands in Long Beach. There's a lot of artistic community spaces like cafes. There's art galleries, things like that. And so we looked at that and we were like, how can we leverage that? And then we looked at what is the current awareness of the lagoon. And so there's a lot of people who go there, but they don't really know anything beyond like it's a nice place to play or take a walk or something like that. But they do think that wetlands are important. So we know that there's interest in learning more about this. So and then we did some interviews and visited the lagoon. And then we also wanted to look at, so what are the people who care about wetlands currently doing? And for that, we had to go to the other wetland called the Los Cerritos wetlands. across the river. They have events for bird walks, and you can see this image is of a bird walk. And we noticed that it's kind of hard to appreciate nature when you're in a really urban environment. You can see there's oil refineries in the background. It's not really that much of like a natural looking setting, but you can find nature if you're looking for it and you know what to look for. So we had a guide who was very helpful. We had binoculars. And so through that, we were kind of able to appreciate the birds, but we don't think that like a normal person would be able to do that. And we also did this habitat restoration event. And we kind of saw that a lot of like high schoolers and college students even, and families who were interested in sort of connecting with each other and with nature and getting the volunteer hours and all of these things. But at the same time, there were a lot of educational signs posted around that people weren't really taking advantage of. You can see that there's a lot of text on that and there's photographs, and it could be interesting, but people didn't really make the time. So we were thinking about more ways to make this type of information more interesting and accessible. And then we also wanted to look at the side of like indigenous land. What does it mean to them? So we interviewed a bunch of local community leaders in the indigenous community, and got kind of learned about their philosophy of like, you know, respecting the land, kind of having harmony with it, and really making use of it in a lot of ways. A lot of their traditional practices involve plants specifically in the wetlands. So habitat restoration is actually helpful for their culture as well. So yeah, we kind of looked at that and then thought, how can we bring art into it? And it turns out that there has previously been art walks at the lagoon to raise awareness. So this was really interesting. We were able to talk to the people who hosted them and learn about their process for developing an art walk, and then also the struggles and like all the time and logistics that were involved. And we realized that a digital event would be much easier to pull off, especially on a short time scale. So then as far as the product goes, we looked at different ways to have an art walk that was digital, such as QR codes on yard sign. But then we looked at the platform we're currently showing you this presentation on, which is called Story Maps, and realized this is the perfect app because it allows you to have a guided walk with different locations where you can attach links to those locations. And so we realized we can just attach our AR filters directly to those locations through Story Maps. And then we'll show you this quick video of how this works. You share sound. But yeah, you can see that she has the story map open in one window. She finds the location that is in the picture and then opens up the link to get to the augmented reality art. And just holds the phone up and it's right there. Sometimes you can actually also hear a narration, like a little audio story. We were able to have some of the people, artists, share what the art means to them, and particularly particular birds or species, which was really cool. And so you see here people like posing with the art, kind of just having a lot of fun with it. And we also had a little station at the end for art making. Okay, so this is data about our interactions that we were able to have. You can see that we did get a lot of engagement with the Instagram filters, and of people from outside of Long Beach. So interest is pretty wide, and ultimately what we're looking for is they feel a greater appreciation for these things, and luckily it looks like they did, especially with audio narration that accompanies the art. It helps them to really learn in an engaging way, we found. So as far as alignment, we were looking at the county goals for healthy communities, infrastructure supporting human health, thriving ecosystems, habitats, and biodiversity, and then accessible parks and recreational spaces. So we were kind of inspired by those. And then as far as the United Nations goals, we were also inspired by clean water and sanitation, as well as life on land. So those were kind of driving us. And then with Pando's deals, we kind of thought it was really cool that they would mention the experience of being and belonging in a specific lived environment. So native wildlife, indigenous cultures can't really get any more local than that. So that was really cool. Future directions, we are hoping to have a permanent QR code at the lagoon on one of their signs so that people can access this experience at any time. Also, any place you can access this experience, virtually as well. If you just have the pictures of what locations would look like, which you do have in our story map, which is at the bottom of this webpage. And then we also have an Instagram page now that we use to market the event, which we can continue to use for educational purposes.
Yeah, and that was the gist of our project. Then we'll open up for questions.
Wonderful. Thank you both. This was wonderful. Love the use of augmented reality, and that demonstration was really compelling too. I'd love to see something like this in action as well, and excited to see what our panelists think too. So I'm going to briefly introduce them, and then we'll have them ask a few questions that will more fully illuminate the project as a whole. So these panelists that we're turning to, they represent a full range of expertise in areas related to sustainability and community. So we're really lucky to have them. Today, we've got LaRonda Bowen, who is formerly of the California Air Resources Board. We have Sister Mary Beth Larkin of the Sisters of Social Service. Little known fact that the sisters have on their campus in Encino the largest private solar panel installation in the state of California. So that's pretty cool. And then we have Chris Liban, who is Chief Sustainability Officer of Metro. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, we're going to have 10 minutes for some Q&A. So would love to throw it to any of you that would like to start with a question. Anybody feeling inspired, or should I pick on somebody? Oh, Chris is inspired. He's got the mute off.
Well, I saw LaRonda raise her hand first, so I'll defer to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me and for having me, and for the wonderful projects that you all proposed. I had a chance to read in depth some of the responses, and just the idea of what you're doing is good. In the arena of bringing people together, I appreciated the idea, that using the camera, and I noticed that in the one that I was focused on. I would encourage each of you, though, as you're going forward and you're looking for ways to get the information out, not to leave out the leaders of the environmental agencies that regulate water, land, air, everything here in California. So if you're not familiar with the umbrella agency, it's just if you want to reach out to someone in the water department, for example, all you have to just do is Cal EPA. It stands for California Environmental Protection Agency, right? And if you go to their website, you can see all the different departments that they have. So as I was listening to you, I'm thinking, when I was at the Air Resources Board, I retired from there recently, but when I was there, I was the ombudsman there, and I was responsible for implementing the federal requirements for small business, Section 504 of the Clean Air Act. So as you're starting out as entrepreneurs, if you're going to build a whole business around your idea, great. If not, just the little snippet that we saw today is the kind of thing that you might be willing to offer to share at one of the agencies when they're having their board meeting. So for example, at the Air Resources Board, we always, and the other water agency does it too, we always put our agenda out so people could know it'd be online, and the same happens with the other agencies. And so as you look forward, you can ask, can we have a display in the lobby that we can present our project or our information? We can bring more people together around this issue. Like if you have an event coming up and they have a board meeting, see if you can be there to promote your event at their board meeting. And so there's room outside of it's basically in the lobby. And it's not that difficult to get permission to share what you're doing that ties into what they're doing. So whether it's the water board or the air resources board or Cal Recycle, these things all work together. And what you guys are doing is so exciting compared to, it gets kind of from the staff and from the people who are constantly there. It can get very routine. And what you're offering, just in that little clip, is a way to engage and to lift people up. You will also find more people drawn then to your project. So it's a marketing opportunity for you that should be fairly easy to set up and very low cost. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
That's
thank
all.
you for that.
I'll
That's
go back
really,
on
that's really
mute.
helpful. Thank you.
Hope so. I hope you take advantage.
Yeah, wonderful advice. Thank you, Loranda. Chris, how about we throw it to you and then we'll go to Mary Beth.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, Eugene and to the rest of the Pando Days team here for inviting us. Great opportunity to not only know about the different projects happening around the universities in the region, but to engage in active conversation with all of you. I really love this project. Combining not only environmental stewardship, but recognizing the fact that this is land of our native constituents here in this region. And along those lines, I'm actually curious on a two-part element here. The first one is how do you foresee access to this particular project? And this is related to as if your project gets off the ground, becomes successful, you draw in more people, and people might be to the location. How do you foresee access and vis-a-vis greenhouse gas emissions? And then the next one is as more people get drawn to it, what does maintenance look like so that the benefits of this project actually are maintained over time, and the people who enjoy it now would enjoy the same amount of benefits in the future.
Yeah. So those are great questions. I think just you were kind of getting cut off a little bit. So from what I'll try to answer from what I understood. But as far for like future maintenance and so because we thought about like maintenance and how like a lot of it, there's not always like a whole lot of funding, but Loranda brought up like some good points and like good, organizations that we could reach out to for maybe more support in that. But we would really try to keep it as minimal as possible for maintenance. So I know we briefly mentioned, kind of putting up like informational boards, because right now there's some, but they're like so old and cracked, right? They could be redone. So it's like visual informational boards about the land itself, and then how they can access, our event online. That's kind of like more of a self-guided tour if so it could just be accessible for anyone, anytime. And then for, I think your first question was about like, how could we, sorry, we could repeat your first question.
Yeah, I'll just repeat it. Access is a big deal for many of these locations, and as they grow, become popular, people tend to drive at these locations, or instead of doing active transportation, especially if it's not connected yet to
Mhm.
transportation network. So I'm just trying to reconcile, how do you proceed, in somewhat of a landlocked, body of water like this to,
Mm.
a more
Okay.
project
Yeah.
access and
Well, I know, like, for example, the event that we did, I mean, it was much smaller. We only had about 20, 30 people come out, but all of them were local to Long Beach. And then also from the research that we found and did, and also from talking to Dr. Whitcraft, which is a professor of biological sciences here at Long Beach, who does a lot of research on wetlands and the Colorado Lagoon. She also just told us that a lot of visitors are local. So, I mean, theoretically, that if it's more like neighboring, visitors, theoretically that would have like a low carbon footprint. Um, but in terms of maybe because we would want to spread even more awareness of it.
And so, yeah, like I will add that we want to make it a fully virtual experience. Like to view the art, you really just need a picture of the scene and hold up your phone against it. So you could put the scene on your computer and then hold up your phone and you'd see the art just as if you were actually at the lagoon. So that's something we're working on. Because the goal really is to make people feel more of a connection to the place. But to be there is to have the best experience. But then if you can't be there, you should also still be able to feel something.
Yep. Yep. I guess something to think about, in the future. I'm not, if it's no particular path on that question right now. Something to think about is to develop the project a little bit more. Because it makes a difference if you're there.
Yeah, it does. Totally. We agree. Yeah, thank you for your feedback. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Mary Beth, let's turn it to you for a quick question or comment, and then we'll
Thank you.
hear their next project. Yeah.
Great. I am super excited about this project. I moved from Massachusetts, my family and I, when I was about 8.5 years old, and I swam in the Colorado Lagoon pretty much every day and during the summer. And until it became too secluded and polluted, frankly. And then we used to go to Alameus Bay, which is, within walking distance practically. But this, the opening up of the channel that will flow seawater into the, the lagoon as it was, is huge. That's going to take care of a lot of the questions of maintenance, just in keeping fresh water moving. And I know that area really, really well. And I'm just so thrilled that it is in the works. And I've heard about it a long time ago. My sister lives in Long Beach, and I get down there often enough. But I love the inclusion of the Indigenous and Native American populations and really understanding and learning about that history, the art walks and all of that. And it is proximate. It doesn't look like it from some of those photographs, like the one with the salt dirt, where all the oil fields are. That's not far from lots and lots of residents and lots of people that walk. And, it's a stone's throw from Cal State, Long Beach. And it's a very highly populated area where, people who like to be in the outdoors are. So I think it's great. Kudos to all of you on the Cal State Long Beach team, because I just love the idea that you could be so close to it as students and, faculty and people at the university that you could walk right over and work on it. And great plan.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you call those synchronicities for me, because I didn't expect to see as the first one up today, that's a place where I grew up and I learned to swim and I learned to love the water and the environment and the wetlands and all that stuff. So it's a great area to continue to improve. And the fact that you're going to have it available virtually, a lot of people are going to say, let's go there. Because they wouldn't, if they don't live there, they don't know the opportunities that there are in that part of Long Beach area.
Yeah,
Very,
thank
thank you.
yeah, thank you. Just wonder also that this is not the only event day that have this kind of art walk. You can actually just go right now and
Yeah,
you
I
can
know it.
still experience. So if you have time, you can go, and we just send you the link. Then you can go over the whole artwork by yourself.
Great. I will do that.
That's great. That's great.
My old
Well,
soccer
wonderful.
pals.
Yeah, great job. Thank you so much.